Hey there, how are you?
Hey Patrick, how's it going, buddy?
And how was the show?
Oh man, it was a blast, complete blast. And then yeah, I took a work the next day after that. It was so much fun. It was Cheap Trick, Journey, and Def Leppard.
Oh wow, Journey. Okay.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And then yeah, after that, worked and then drove up to Chicago, go see some family. So I'm at my brother's house right now in a little makeshift studio set up. So
Very
yeah.
cool. I haven't heard from Aria. I was assuming she would be here, but I don't know if she's going to be here. When we don't have a full class or more than one, uh, class usually goes fast because there's not
Yeah.
two things. So I want to keep that in mind. But what we can do, I don't know, did you get a chance to look at the class on Wednesday?
I did not get a chance to look at the class on Wednesday just because, like I said, I was driving up, 15 hours. But I did have my script pretty memorized. I know I didn't get a chance to go over that because I wasn't there yesterday or for the Wednesday class.
Right?
I don't know if that's something you still want to do with you reading River and me reading Sam. If you don't want to go over that, we can go over the monologue that you gave me for Phil.
What I'd like to do is wait until we have two people in class for the scene.
Okay.
We're going to do something called blind reading today, which is not
Okay.
cold reading. It's different. But since we have some extra time, what I'd like to do is just do a quick overview of Wednesday's class.
Okay.
Because what we talked about was the different types of directors that you're going to be encountering. Um, Forgive me, I'm sick, so if my energy level is not the usual, don't worry about it. It's just me. Um, so there's five different types of my my feeling is there's five different types of directors. Oh, here we go. We've got Aria is coming in. Great. Um, hey, Aria,
Oh, hey,
how are
how are
you?
you doing? Good. I didn't get a link, and then I went back to the email because my mind is not working for now. And I'm like, oh, where did the new one go?
Yeah, I think I just sent the link a little while ago, so you should be getting it. I'm just telling Comron that I'm not feeling that well, so my energy level is kind of low, but don't you worry about that. I'm just giving him a quick overview of the directors, and then we'll get into what I call blind reading for tonight's class. And the quick overview, Comron, is there's five types of directors: the dictator, the friend, the visitor, the collaborator, and the visionary. You can watch the whole class for a much more detailed description and discussion. But
Yeah, I'll definitely go back.
yeah, the one that I feel is the most useful and beneficial is obviously the collaborator. A
Mhm.
collaborator. Now, just as a heads up, I'm sure there are more types, just like there are more types of people. But these are the general categories that I've worked with. And the collaborator is the one you want to work with because it's exactly what it sounds like. You bring ideas, they bring ideas, and together you work as a team. The dictator is a negative force on set who is just literally a tyrant who will yell and scream even when there's no reason to yell and scream. And they're horrible to work with. In those situations, just keep your head down and know that there's no real direction being done. You're just being, abused. The friend is a director that wants to be liked. And unfortunately, if that's all they're offering, and again, that's why created these distinctions. If you're working with a friend director and all they want you to do is like them, they're not going to give you real feedback. It would be like if you give a bad reading and they go, "Oh man, that's great. Good job. Good job." And there's no real direction. And I think everyone wants to be liked. So these are kind of really difficult directors to work with because if you're not careful, you'll fall into the trap of that you're not giving all you can give and the director's not challenging you. it doesn't mean that a director has to find any fault in a performance. But what I find with a collaborator or a really insightful director is they'll suss out what you're offering, and then they'll bring out the most of what your offering can be, right? And a friend director doesn't do that. A friend director just lets you kind of sit there. And heaven forbid that you're struggling. If you're struggling and looking for literally some direction, they're not going to be there for you. I worked with a director that was like this just recently because he was a new director and he didn't know what to do. And so he just wanted everybody to like him. And it was just, each department head kind of had to take over. And as an actor, then that means that you're having to take over your own department, which is just you. An actor is a department of one. And then there's a director I call the visitor. Mainly those are television directors that don't really have any input in the creation or guidance of a show. Feature film directors are directors that, we talk a lot about filters, that the director is the master filter of a show. As actors, we filter the information we're getting from the script into our character by our backstory, our structure, our want, our 4 Ws, the who, what, where, why of what we're doing. These are all filters that we use to get to the place that we want to be, or to get the character to where we want to be. The visiting director, while a filter, is sort of like a filter at the Coca-Cola factory. You're not going to get anything new or new flavors or new anything. He's just going to be there to make sure that shit doesn't get fucked up. That, and what he's going to do is, like, if an actor comes in, doesn't know his lines, is fucked up on weed or whatever, drunk, then that director filters you out by calling the producers. But basically that's all they're there for, is to filter out trouble. And then finally you have the visionary. And the visionary is interesting because the visionary is not the collaborator. He is not a collaborator. We were talking about Wes Anderson. We were talking about, PTJ or Paul Thomas Anderson, or Tim Burton, where when I say these names, if you know film directors, you're picturing, oh, I know what that movie is, because they're a visionary. That's their vision. If you watch, and I think Wes Anderson's the best example. If you watch a Wes Anderson movie, all the actors are acting in the Wes Anderson style, which is deadpan, low key, easy delivery. And it's just sort of like, it's part of a tone that he is setting. You're not really going to collaborate with someone like that because they have a vision. They're much better to work with than the tyrant, because usually a visionary director, you're going to get something, if you're, lucky enough to be in a production with a visionary director, then it's a good credit. And, you have something there for, your effort. Of course, any and all of these can mix and match. You can be with a visionary director who's also a tyrant, who, he's visionary, but he's going to yell at you every single thing that he does. You can have a friend director who is collaborative, where he wants to hear all of your ideas, but he's not giving you any ideas. So it's like, yeah, you can have all these different combinations, but that's basically the what we talked about on Wednesday. Any questions?
All makes sense. Friend directors are, yeah, ones I wouldn't want to work with either. It's when we did music, if similar like producers is how you're nailing it for us. And those were always yes men. And I hate yes man because you said they just want to be liked, and you're not getting anything.
Yeah,
real
you're
out
more
of it.
likely to get better feedback from the engineer than you are the producer, because they exactly know it's too hot. You're coming in too fast or something.
Yeah. No, yeah. So that's all very good. And like you said, with the visionaries, like I'm not familiar with Anderson by name. I'm sure I am by work, but I mean, like when you go ahead and say Tim Burton, obviously, that
Right.
rings every bell for my generation. So yeah. And sorry if it's a bit noisy. Like I said, I'm at my brother's house trying to make
Oh,
the best
by
I
the way,
can.
with the Zoom, we don't hear any of that noise. I got all of my air conditionings on. We can't hear you.
Oh, wow.
It's all
Okay.
good.
Cool.
Okay, so today then what we're going to talk about is a thing called blind reading. Aria, you're going to be presenting your monologue, and then what I'd like to do, Kamran, is we're going to use the monologue I sent you for the blind reading, but later on, I'd also like you and Aria to do the scene that
Okay.
we have there, and I'll put it up on the screen, Aria, so you can read with him. Because I don't think you have it.
The Phil
Uh,
one?
What's that?
Was it Phil? Or whatever?
It was
for
Ash.
Cameron?
Was it Ash? It was. What was it? Kamran?
I have Phil, I thought. That's what I
Yeah.
saw.
Bill. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I'm like I said, I'm out of it today. I apologize.
We
Uh
get it. We get it.
Yeah.
yeah,
No worries at all.
one of those days. Um okay, I'm just gonna pull up Phil and then I'll pull up what you're working on.
Everything was good with seeing your kid in town, Patrick. It was good to see him. Got a bunch of good stuff going on with them.
It was really great. He had his birthday yesterday and he's just a good kid.
Awesome.
And
Good to hear.
it was really fun. And he went to Anime Con and he was having a good time.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Okay, so I gave you Phil today,
Yes.
but what was the scene that you also have that you have prepped for?
Captain Oliver by Alexander Lee.
Oh, okay. That
Bakers.
was then that we worked with you on that as well, right? Aria?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Captain Oliver.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that as well today. Captain Oliver.
Yeah, Kamara and I didn't have a chance to practice that on
That's
the
fine.
phone. or anything.
Okay, good. Okay, so here's what we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna be taking what was the monologue that you're doing, Aria?
The courtroom.
The court
Miss Kendall.
Kendall?
Yeah. Attorney Lowell.
Great. Okay. So you guys are gonna have we'll use Miss Kendall for you and we'll use Phil for you, Kamran. And here's what we're going to be doing with this thing called blind reading. So cold reading is reading a script without really having read it before and just sort of here's a cold reading of what it is. Kind of like a table reading that we do here. I think if you were to put a more specific tone on a cold reading, it's where you're actually kind of auditioning. A table reading is kind of where you've got the part and you're just sort of reading it with the rest of the people. So what's a blind reading? Blind reading is something I came up with, or at least my naming of it. If it's a technique in some other class, I'm not claiming anything. This is what I like to call it. And what it is the understanding. Do you guys know what fractals are in math?
Oh,
Lots of
Fractal.
math.
So in math or in the study of numbers, there's a thing called fractals where the smaller you get, the more you see the pattern repeating. That there's a golden ratio that works as well as that. The reason why the galaxies look the way they look is the reason that a seashell looks the way that it looks. It's a smaller and smaller set of patterns that basically are the same ratio, like 2 to 1 to 3 or something. What that means for us as actors is why I like to bring that idea up is I look at projects and stories as having fractals where you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And in the beginning, in the first scene, in the first act has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the first scene in the first act has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Right? So it's a fractal. It keeps getting smaller and smaller, but it keeps becoming more and more granular. So when you get down to a speech, when you get down to your dialogue, what I'd like to do with the blind reading is I like to take it one sentence at a time. Okay. Now, This is an exercise in the straight up sense of an exercise, meaning that when you go to a gym and you do bicep curls on a machine, there's very few real life situations that you're prepping yourself for, like with a bicep curl machine. What you're doing is you're strengthening your overall strength and you're designing your muscles. And so this is kind of like that. When you do a blind reading, the exercise is showing you the fractal quality of how everything gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Where in a monologue, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You can see how that works. In a sentence, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so I want to go down to the very smallest part of our acting structure. I guess that would be making sounds or gestures, but for what we're doing here, it's going to be dialogue. So if we look at Phil, okay, can you guys see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we look at Phil, it's actually a very long first line. No, I'm just saying that you don't seem like the kind of guy that cares about anything. And the fact that you actually have a daughter surprises me, because being a father makes you responsible for someone else's life. And you, honestly, and I don't mean to make you feel like bad or anything, but honestly, you seem like the type of guy that if the world came to an end, you'd probably never notice, or you'd notice, but you wouldn't give a damn. Okay. So let's not use Phil.
Okay.
At least not for this exercise. And again, exercise.
Yeah, when you were explaining it, I was like, man, it's a lot of words. Okay.
Yeah. So let's go to the scene that we're going to be doing.
Sweet.
Now those are only lines. Okay. I gotta find, I'm so sorry. Let me pull up another one.
So Patrick,
Yeah.
just a quick question. I'm always so intrigued by it. This is the scene is 4 pages.
Uh-huh.
Now when you're doing like a movie, how many pages are you shooting a day again? Really, like typically?
On a big movie, you're shooting like 3 to 4 pages.
Wild. But then like when you did like See Dad Run, that's a live sitcom, so you're shooting everything. Like how fast are you shooting those? Or is that not an actual live sitcom? It's just kind of
No, that's it. It's kind of comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah,
Mainly because when you're shooting a movie, if you're shooting a movie, the next way you could describe it would be maybe a TV show. Let me just get this piece of copy first, and then I'll.
Yeah, no worries.
It's a great question. Okay.
Yeah, like See Dad Run's almost like it's almost like a live play in a sense, if you're doing sitcom.
Yeah, it is. I mean, so here's what you got. Feature films are shot usually using one camera. Okay. Obviously, you can have more than one camera for an action scene. You can shoot, more than one camera if you want to, where, if you're doing a conversation scene or a scene with, 2 people, you could shoot both of them at the same time. But again, I'll stop caveating myself and just give you generalized explanation here. Films are shot with one camera. TV shows are shot with one camera. Sitcoms are shot with 3 or 4 cameras. And they're rehearsed like plays, with the understanding that each scene is going to be shot all at once. And you can do that scene over and over again until you get that scene. Then they move on to the next scene. It is one of the most fun things to ever be a part of. I love sitcom. I love being on it. I love producing it. I love writing it. Mainly because Monday you sit and you have a table read. That's where I got the idea for table read. Every week you have a table read. In other movies or TV shows, you may not have a table read. It's not a have to, but in sitcom, it's a have to, because the table read is the first time that the actors see the script, or technically the first time the actors read the script in front of the director and the writers. a lot of times actors don't read their table drafts until they get to the table, which is just, it sucks. It's a cheap way to do it. You should read your table draft and know what's in the script that you're going to read, because what's happening is when the writer's room finishes their table draft, that means that all the writers have worked together on a script. They've usually one or two writers have written the script. Then the writer's room punches it up and then they send it to the table so they can hear it out loud for the first time. And if an actor hasn't read the script and doesn't know the jokes that are coming up, they easily, and I saw it happen every week, they blow the joke. And then so a joke that they thought would work, now the writers are like scratching it out of the script because it didn't work. And now they got to change that. So after the table read on Monday, the writers go back to the writer's room and try to fix the script, because a lot of times the scripts don't work when you finally hear it out loud. The actors then go to the set to rehearse. And then at the end of the first day, everyone goes home pretty early. Second day, the directors get the actors and they rehearse until about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, when they have a run through. And that run through is watched by the writers, and the writers make another round of notes on Wednesday. And then the writers go off and try to fix the script and make it better. Sometimes that can be quick. Sometimes you can last into the night, depending on how well the script works. Wednesday, you have a run through for the network. And by that time, your script should be in pretty good shape. And you have another run through at around 2 or 3. Same process. You take notes. The network then gives notes. And then on Thursday, you are doing some pre-taping, where if there's anything that can be pre-taped or complicated or involves a stunt or has any special effects or has anything that's going to take some time, you do that on a Thursday. And then Friday comes, and then they load in the audience, and you do a show at 4 o'clock and you do a show at 7 o'clock. You do 2 shows, you tape them or record them or film them. And you have started off with 3 cameras. And then Gary Marshall added a 4th camera when he was doing Mork and Mindy, because Gary tells this great story, and he told this story in our writer's room. It was really cool. He says, we had our 3 cameras up, and Robin Williams obviously is Robin Williams. And so he's jumping all around, the set. And I actually happened to be there that night, which is kind of crazy. They were shooting the pilot for Mork and Mindy. And we shot right across the street from Mork and Mindy at Little House at the Paramount lot. They were stage whatever, and we were across the little alleyway. And so all us kids would go and watch Robin Williams perform because he's really funny. And so they were shooting the pilot. We were all in the audience watching the pilot. And Gary Marshall sees Robin go off and do this crazy thing. And he turns to his camera guys and he goes, "Do you get it?" And the camera guy that was there, he goes, "He didn't come by me. He didn't come by me. He didn't come by me." And so he goes, "Well, then we need another camera. So we're going to add another." So they added a camera for Robin. And so that's the 4th camera. And so then when you have your show, if the audience is laughing and having a good time, you can tell where the jokes are. If a joke doesn't work, then you huddle around the camera and you pitch on different jokes. You have a list of alternate jokes, and then you can go and you shoot that. So shooting a sitcom is a week process for a half hour or 20-minute show. It takes that long to write, produce, and shoot it. On Little House, we were very, very quick. We would also shoot Little House episodes in, I think it ended up being 7 days. And what was really amazing about Little House was because Michael knew all the people from from Bonanza, and they were all the same crew. He could go like this, and the entire crew would know exactly the shot that he was calling for. And on Little House, we did, I think, 9 to 11 pages a day. And if you think that it's a minute a page for single camera shows, a 60-page script, takes about 6 days, 6-7 days. When you're doing a movie like Yes Man, where I worked with Jim Carrey, and he's obviously Jim Carrey, they have lots of money. we did my scene with him, which I think was 3 pages, and that's all they did. But they did lots of coverage on Jim. They did lots of coverage on us. There was lots of rehearsal. You know, instead of a table read, we had the rehearsal there. They walked around the space that took their time to light. It's just is a much slower process. So I know that was a way longer answer than you anticipated.
Oh, yeah.
That's good to know.
I'm always so curious about the technical side, and I'm sorry because I know when I ask these questions, sometimes they go way off. And yeah, I knew sitcoms take quite a while because, you know, it's obviously, like we said, a live play. You work all the days, do the table reads, network reads. And then really, I guess my difference was I was looking for more for the answer of like the difference between a single camera show and a film. So
Yeah,
on
and the
days
single
of the day.
camera show. So like for JAG, we would shoot, I think, 8 pages a day. So
Okay.
ours was, 8 to 10 days. And then, on the low budget movies that I've done, we shot, like I've said, 30 pages a day, and they have
Yeah.
a 5-day budget, and that's it. That's all they're doing. I just wrote a movie that was called Tornado Apocalypse, which they've retitled The Twisters, that they've put out. They shot it in 5 days. They put it out in order to, compete against the movie Twisters, which,
Of course.
that's the one that we shot. No, we didn't shoot that one. That was Meth Gator in Florida.
Yeah.
But the Twisters, again, is sort of like we're shooting so much that they shot. It's like literally they shot the whole movie in a van, basically, and then everything else is stock footage. So there you go. All right. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
I have a quick question. As an actor, you mentioned having that scene with Jim, and then I had friends like back in Hawaii who had like a short speaking part at Lost, but they're scared that the director at the end will cut your part. They're like, we don't need that scene. Is that happens often? You're like, hey, where did my scene go? Or
Yeah,
do they let you
it
know?
happens all the time. No, in fact, I had one of my. I still get residuals because you get residuals based on the amount of days that you worked, not what's in the movie.
Oh,
I still get residuals for Blazing Saddles. I was in like 3 full-blooded scenes of Blazing Saddles, which they cut out. Also, what they'll do is like with NCIS. NCIS, I'm not the star of, I was a guest star. And so when you're a guest star, you're all excited, you've got all the dialogue, you're giving all the information. I was doing an accent. I was sure that I was going to get a lot of this great stuff for my reel. And then what happens is that because it's a TV show about the stars of the show, when I'm talking, the camera is edited to show how the lead performers are reacting to what I'm saying. So even if you're the subject of the scene, you may not be on camera when you're giving all of your specific information. So you
oh.
never really do know. And it can work the other way too sometimes, where especially in your business or the business that you've been in, which is if there's something going on and they cut to a crowd reaction, there might be a person that stands out by the way they're reacting. And it might feel like, a player when it's just an atmosphere person, but you might get camera time that really, really pays off, or it's like, and then that may be cut into the trailer. And so you're all of a sudden, a day crowd scene turns into looking like you're in this movie. So that can also happen.
That would be cool. I think it might have happened once in Grimm when I was like this. Ah, and then I saw myself and I'm going like, you were supposed to act shocked. And I'm like, why did they have a close up on me? I look weird in that camera angle and
Oh, of
stuff.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like we said in the very basic one, you got to get used to the way your voice sounds, get used to the way that you look, because
Yeah.
it's not what you think. So let's take a look at Dan. And so she texted me again last night. Okay. So the idea with blind reading is exactly what I've been explaining, which is we're just going to read that one line. That's all. That's the entirety of your performance in this film. Okay. And then you go to the next line, and then that's the entirety of your performance. And what this does is the fractal geometry of reduction and reducing, but it's all the same, is, excuse me, even this one line has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So, setting it up, she texted me again, middle, last night, and that's the end. So, again, you've got beginning, middle, and an end. What I want you guys to do here while we're doing these is to give a realistic reading. We're not making more out of it than it is, but assuming that that's the only line you have. So you're not going to allow for, so she texted me again last night, and where it's like, and there's more, there isn't. Okay. So let's see, for, I want to go back and forth on this. Actually, let's just work with you, Kamran, then we'll work with Arya. So give me this line here. So she texted me again last night.
So she texted me again last night.
Okay. It still feels like you're in the middle of a conversation. This is the only thing that you have to say about this person.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a great one in my head and it didn't compute. So.
Right.
The processor came out a bit weird. So she texted me again last night.
Okay. Where's all the, it seems very, I hear the anger, but one of the things, and again, I don't want to make my performance choices your performance choices. That's not the idea here. Give me 1 second.
Tough one.
What's that?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It is. Because that so has to have a different sentence, it seems like.
Yeah, like the so part is what makes it complex.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a beginning, a middle, and an end is actors, you do want to make a meal out of what you're given. You don't want to overact. But tell me more about what's going on here. You sound really upset, which, okay, if that's where you're going. But slow it down and break it down a little bit more so that you're getting more out of it. Okay.
Okay, I'll try and do it to the best of my understanding with it. So she texted me again last night.
Okay, great. That's what I'm talking about, where it feels like a beginning, a middle, and an end. You can imbue these things with different emotions. Okay, because I think that the next line, we'll go to the next line. And the idea here is, yes, we are living on an island where this is the only line we're going to be reading, but the context is going to stay the same, because here's what what's the barbell curl equivalent here. It's by the time you're done doing this with a full monologue, you're going to have explored all these different ways to do these lines, so that once you get your determination and your want in line in your head in back here, these are all going to come out in a much more complex, thought out way. Again, it's an exercise. where you're not going to read that line in perhaps the same way you would that you're doing in the exercise, but having done the exercise, you will be reading it in a substantially different way than if you were to just attack it without doing it. Okay. So let's read the second line.
Is that me or Arya for the second line? I'm sorry about that.
No, we'll go with you, Kamran, and then we'll work with Arya
Okay.
on a
Okay.
different one.
So fucking passive aggressive.
Okay. You're making a meal out of it, which is good. I like that. But tying it, but you do need to tie it together. That
Okay.
it still is one thought. Okay.
All right. So it's just that one line though, correct?
Correct.
All right. So fucking passive aggressive.
Okay. You're leading at the end to another idea. So fucking passive aggressive. Told you once, I told you again, she's always that way. That's where you're kind of, but we want it to end. Okay.
Okay. So fucking passive aggressive.
Okay, great. Read the third line here, and then we'll do something a little bit different after this.
Hey, would love to talk if you were able to fucking control your anger.
Try it again.
Hey, would love to talk if you could control your fucking anger. Oh shit, sorry. I thought I saw fucking for some reason. It's the word below. I'm so sorry
It's
about
right
that.
below it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
re-enter.
yeah.
Try again.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, would love to talk if you're able to control your anger.
Okay. With this one, you're quoting someone else what they wrote. So it's not that I'm asking, I don't want you to make something that's not there happen. I just want
Yeah.
each one of these lines to be
Yeah.
important to you.
Yeah.
Hey, would love to talk if you were able to control your anger. Like,
Yeah. No.
it's an idea. So try one more time.
Yeah, I totally didn't even realize. Yes, I'm getting quoted. So, hey, would like to talk if you can if you were able to control your anger.
Try again as written.
Hey, would love to talk to you. That's so much noise. I'm sorry. Hey, would love to talk to you if you're able to control your anger.
Okay. Let's try now that we've done this for 3 lines, let's try reading these 3 lines together.
Okay.
And now this is your only line. Okay. So you can lead to the other line. It can be more natural, but this is your only line.
Okay. So she texted me again last night. So fucking passive aggressive. Hey, would love to talk to you if you're able to control your anger.
Okay, great. Okay, so already I can hear, I think, a difference between what I would imagine your first pass would be on a read with this. Because when you break this shit down to the fractal level, to that individual level, each thing obviously becomes a little bit more important in your own mind. So that when you go back to it and it makes sense with the 3 pieces put together, all of a sudden you're getting way more depth out of it than you would be if you're just trying to race through a monologue. Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. That was a great exercise. Like you said, it makes you think about each line more and more. And
Yeah.
no, it kicks ass. Love it.
Okay, good. So that's another, we put these, there's not a better way to say it, but oh man, do I love hate that the actor's toolbox. It's another tool to put in your toolbox. It's like, yeah, just imagine a bad actor with a bunch of bad tools. But yeah, it's another exercise that you can use to break down a script that you're doing, just to give it a fresh, role in your head, about what's going on. So with you, Aria, let's take a look at Miss Kendall. And again, we're going to be doing the same thing. So why don't we just do the same monologue that we were working with Kamran on, but we'll go to a different point. Okay, how about we go to okay, so Aria, this is your first line. When we were together, we were a team, and it's your only line in the whole scene, okay?
Okay. When we were together, we were a team.
Okay. That's good. You read that well, but that's reading. I want to feel something about how you feel with somebody. Like, have you ever had a special person in your life where you felt like a team with them?
No. Not that. I don't remember. I could have, let's see, like a team, like in school or sports or
Oh,
whatever.
somebody like an emotional relationship.
Oh, okay. Um,
Now remember, if you don't, and it's not
I
like you,
don't.
okay.
Okay,
When I ask questions like that, those are like little like shortcuts. But we're not astronauts, we're not Marines, I'm not a lawyer. We can still play these things. If you've never had a
right,
relationship with a person where you felt like a team, doesn't mean that you still can't experience that in your line. Okay.
right.
You
Okay,
break it down. When we were, when is the beginning, or when we, so like the beginning, we're together, that's the middle. We were a team. That's your three parts. It's like setting it up that, there was something
like
special.
special. Okay, that makes sense. When we were together, we were a team.
Okay, great. Kamran, you're right there. You can hear a complete difference than what it was the first time, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Let's go to the second line here.
Now, it's like everything I do is the worst thing in the world, and I can't make up for the pain I caused her.
Okay. Try it again now that you've gotten through it, and it's a longer sentence. There's more to chew on here. Let's break it down. Now, it's like in comparison to something before, we don't know what this line is. We haven't, let's ignore this line. So now it's like everything I do is the worst thing in the world, and I can't make up for the pain that I caused her. So it's a bifurcated sentence that's split in two. So you've got your beginning, your middle is setting up. It's like everything I do. And then the last part is the worst thing in the world, and I can't make up for the pain I caused her. So there's three different ideas there. You're being judged, you're hurt, and you're judging yourself, and you're not able to fix something. See how much you can find in one just sentence? So take a look at it, and then on your own, give us another read.
Now, it's like everything I do is the worst thing in the world, and I can't make up for the pain I caused her.
It's amazing. It's an amazing read. Good job. Okay. So let's do one more.
But come on, that was a long time. Wait, is that what it says? Okay. Like, comrade, I'm reading the next word with um, but come on, that was so long ago.
Okay. So once again, slow your mind, look at it, realize that but is it's a hook to say, but that's your beginning. Come on. It's so long ago. Like you're justifying it, and that's your end. But come on, come on is the middle. That was so long ago is the end. That's your fractal. That's your three-parter. Okay.
but come on, that was so long ago.
Okay, good. Let's try all of these together.
When we were together, we were a team. Now, it's like everything I do is the worst thing in the world, and I can't make up for the pain I caused her. But come on, that was so long ago.
Okay, great. You guys are really getting this good. So, okay, so what that does for you is it, especially for you, Aria, it slows your brain down, it slows your mind down to the ideas in each and every sentence and the emotions that are connected to those ideas. Okay. A lot of time, and I mentioned this before, when we look at a script and we see it, let me see if I can. Yeah, okay, I get it. You can see it. There we go. We see all these words and we want to get through them as fast as possible. But what we are forgetting is each of these words is telling us an idea. The beginning, the middle, and the end of this monologue. It's a 3-act play just in one dialogue. It's like he brings up the problem. So she texted me again last night. How am I supposed to fix this? And that's, if you look at your first and last line, you can also get a sense of what your direction is for that monologue. Where do you start? Where do you end? This, like with any other exercise, if you're doing it right, this can be time consuming. I think it's a really good exercise to do if you're stuck, or if it's just not coming out right, or if you just don't have a handle on something. When you break it down into tiny little bits, it becomes a lot more digestible and easier to, understand your emotional stakes and understand what exactly your character is going through. Because again, one of the things I believe in more than anything else in acting is if you do the work in the back of your head, it's going to come out the front of your face, whether you want it to or not. So if you've done all of this work with each one of these sentences, they're your friends that when you're revisiting them, when you're saying them again, it's not the first time you said them. It's not the first time you've thought about them. It's not the first time that you've figured out an emotion that goes with them. And so your brain is going to assign all of that history to the way that you said it. I mean, your example, Aria, yours is well, Kamran, but it was just markedly easier to see with Aria. The first time you read it, yeah, you're just reading words. And then the next time it's better. And by the time that you're doing the third time, it's a connected piece and an idea that you are really, a character. So that's blind reading. What we're going to do, because we're getting closer, is let's go ahead and Kamran and Aria, let's do your scenes. The first, that Mr. Captain, the kitty cat scene together. Let's do that now. And then we'll do a table read for you, Kamran. And then I want to see where you're at with the lawyer scene. Okay, Aria?
Okay.
So
Where's
unless you guys have any questions about Captain Sparkles or whatever the name is.
Oliver.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me see if I can find it. Captain Oliver. I should have had I saved so much stuff in the appropriate area, but my mouse is not working sometimes. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Any questions, Kamran?
I guess my question, because I know we haven't read this together, Aria, is how do you want to read the characters together? Because for me, I see it as kind of like the whole hamburger thing, like we're saying with this. There's emotional parts to this. And for me, how I envisioned it was all page one is an annoyance between I find Sam is really annoyed that he has to be here and going through this. and it's just kind of like snippy snappy a little bit. And
Well, let
It
me
ju-
answer that before you finish asking the question.
yes.
The reason is because when two actors work together, you don't have control over what Arya is going to do, and Arya has no
Yeah.
control over what you're going to do. You're going to bring what you bring, and I'll see what it is, and then from there I'll give the adjustments. I'll mix.
Okay.
I'll say bring this down, bring this up, and that's the question. But it's not. We can't do that yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to mute myself, and I'm watching. When I'm looking at you and I'm teaching, that's the camera lens. When I'm watching, it's down here. So just so you know, I'm not being distracted. I'm watching you guys. Okay.
Are you gonna say action?
I can if you like. Are you
Yeah,
guys
please.
ready? You ready? And action.
Thanks for coming.
It's fine.
How's your new place?
I'm not in yet.
But did you find one?
I did. I'm here, so let's just. What do you propose?
I was thinking, what if you get weekends?
Weekends.
Pick them up Friday, drop them off Sunday night.
No.
You can drop them off Monday if that's easier.
It makes no sense to me when I'm the one working from home. Why can't you take weekends?
Because I work. I won't have any time with them.
Can you try switching shifts?
I need the money right now, at least for the time being.
Why don't we do a week on, week off?
I don't think we should displace him like that.
2 weeks then. It gives them more of a chance to get situated.
It's not the link of time. When are you getting into your new place?
2 weeks works out perfectly.
And it's nice. I mean, it's safe for him and everything.
I assume so.
Are you living alone? What are your housemates like?
They seem fine.
And they know him? That he'll be coming over?
They mentioned they seem fine with it.
This isn't usual, I don't think. None of the articles I've read recommend it.
I don't see another way.
Please think about the weekends, or maybe you can just come and visit him. He's happy here.
Just.
But why freak him out with a new place he's never been? If you don't have to, new people and
I'll be there. I'll be right there with them. It'll be fine. Jesus, can you fucking trust me for once? There's one fucking thing?
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
It's hard.
Yep.
You wanted to take him with you today?
No, I just picked it up after work. Strange. Being back feels different.
I know.
Did he? I thought he'd run when he heard me.
I wouldn't take him personally. He's got a new spot in the bedroom. Last I saw him when he was asleep.
Can I see?
Yeah, I can take you back there.
I wonder if the apartment still smells like me.
He remembers you. Oh, crap, sorry. Those are my mouse. I lost my place.
He
Oh,
remembers you.
Yeah. Sorry, my mouse just jumped from somewhere. It's not working. Okay. He remembers you. Get settled. We can try a week on and off.
Thank you.
See how he goes. Do you want to see his new hiding spot?
Let's just call him out here, yeah?
Yeah, sure. Captain Oliver.
Captain Oliver.
Come on, kitty, kitty, kitty. Little kitty. Oh, don't look at me. I wasn't talking to you.
Okay. How do you guys feel about that?
A little bit better than the first time we tried.
Kamran?
I mean, the cold read.
Yeah, there was some stuff that I felt was good. Some stuff that could be worked out, you know, definitely here and there.
Okay, what I'd like to do is we'll put a hold on the other stuff we were going to do because we're getting close to the end of class here, but I want to continue working on this scene because I think there's a lot of good here, and then we can then start up. So don't worry about the lawyer thing, and we can do a table read next class for that other stuff. So here's what I'm seeing is that, and this is to that question you had, you know, like how do you what's the mix? I'm going to tell you the mix now. First on Kamran's side, I think you're coming in really too hot and too mean. Where I think if we look at the scene and the characters as a whole, you're obviously trying to work together. Okay.
Okay.
And it's difficult. So I think it would be more of a gentle annoyance because you probably cared about this person at one point.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh my fucking God, like as soon as you start, like I'm whatever, okay. And then so bring that down a little bit and have more of a try hard attitude, try a little harder to be
Okay.
a little bit calmer. That's your character.
All right.
For you, Arya, you are the most infuriating person I think I've ever seen as this character because you're like you're all nerves with none of the association of knowing what you're asking for, right? Which aggravates the scene more. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're giving all of the reasons that you give about like, well, maybe we can do this or maybe we can do that. Again, I want you to try hard to make it work, but there's a sense there needs to be a sweetness to your read that's not there right now. Right now, it just sort of feels like you could care less about what's going on. And you're just going, okay, well, what about this? What about that? Well, no, that's not going to work. What about your housemates? It's like
I'm going off of his anger.
well, if you were, I mean, if that's where the direction was going, I would still want to see more of a reaction from you. There needs to be, and I think we've talked about this. I think what my job is to pull the more emotional responses out of you. And that's
Right.
part of what we're doing, which is what we're all about. So think about the cat. You're there trying to figure out how to make it better for the cat, both of you. And so as you obviously are not together, you grind gears and, you bug each other, but both of you are trying really hard to make this work until Kamran has that flare up, which has to have a flare to it. You do have to get angry at that point, but just don't come in with that anger at front. Okay. Let's try one more time.
Okay, wait 1 second. I want to make sure my mouth doesn't jump and throw
Are
me
you
off.
on a laptop or a desktop?
Laptop.
Do
And
you
then my
have
mouth for some reason doesn't cut it.
do
It
you have a
moves
trackpad
and
or is it a mouse?
yeah, I do. I have a
Maybe try
trackpad.
the trackpad instead of the
But
mouse.
Patrick, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Kamran.
I had a question, Patrick, because I know typically when we're reading, we're doing monologues and stuff. We're looking over in here. But since I'm trying to read off of Arya, am I looking at Arya in this scenario, or am I still
Yeah,
not?
for this situation, yeah, you got to look where you got to look.
Okay, that's what I was kind
fine.
of, I know I was looking off over here, kind of trying to do that, but I'll look at her for this. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure and didn't want to stare too much
Yeah.
to the camera.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, and action.
Thanks for coming.
It's fine.
How's your new place?
Not in yet.
But did you find one?
I did. I'm here, so what do you propose?
Well, I was thinking, what if you get weekends?
Weekends.
Pick them up Friday and drop them off Sunday night?
No.
You can drop them off Monday if that's easier.
It makes no sense to me when I'm the one that works from home. When I'm the one working from home, why can't you take the weekends?
Because I work, I don't have any time with him.
Can you try switching shifts?
Well, I need the money right now, at least for the time being.
All right. Why don't we do a week on and a week off?
I don't think we should displace him like that.
2 weeks, then it gives them more of a chance to get situated.
It's not the length of time. When are you gonna get into your new place?
2 weeks works out perfectly.
And it's nice. I mean, it's safe for him and everything.
I assume so.
Are you living alone? What are your housemates like?
I mentioned them and they seem fine with it.
And they know about him, that he'll be coming over?
Uh, yeah, I mentioned them. They seem fine with it.
Okay. This isn't unusual, I don't think. None of the articles I read recommend it.
Yeah, I don't see another way.
Please have a think about weekends, or maybe you can just come and visit him. He's happy here.
He'll just.
But why freak him out in a new place he's never been? If we don't have to, new people, and
I'll be there. I'll be right there with him. It'll be fine. Jesus, can you fucking trust me with this one thing? For this one fucking thing?
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You want to take him with you today?
No, I just picked it up after work. Strange being back. Feels different.
I know.
Did he? I thought he'd run to the door when he heard me.
I wouldn't take it personally. He got in a spot in the bedroom. Last I saw him, he was asleep.
Can I see?
Yeah, yeah, I can take you back there.
I wonder if the apartment still smells like me.
He remembers you. Get settled and we can try week on and week off.
Thank you.
See how it goes, Do you want to see his new hiding spot?
Let's just call him out here, yeah?
Sure. Yeah, Captain Oliver. Oh, sorry.
How do you guys feel about that?
I
feel
liked it not
nicer.
being as angry. Yeah, I think it worked out a bit better. Like we could actually see a relationship between us in a sense
Yeah.
of me instead of it. Like, maybe it isn't just a harsh breakup. Maybe it's, hey, we've realized we aren't the best for each other, but we still love our cat. And it doesn't have to be a spiteful breakup, kind of how I was playing it in the first place. It can be, hey, we're kind of
Right.
chill. Like, yeah, let's work together.
Yeah, I think it works better, and because I can't be anything else. I'll be really honest here. I think with Kamran coming down from his anger, the scene played a little better and made your character Arya seem less.
Bitchy.
Well, wasn't that you bitchy, just sort of like uncaring.
Oh, right. Yeah.
However, because of that adjustment, I still need that. I still need more from you to bring that to the table as well. A lot of times when people do a scene, if you're in a scene with a good partner, they'll make that scene better for you. And I think that's what's happening here. Not that you're not good and not that you can't, but I'm saying if we had more time to play around with all of these things, we can try this again next week.
Mhm.
I would want to think about doing it one more time next week where you're add something to your character, Aria, of I want to give you the right advice
You're
here.
just trying to bring my emotions out because I'm so emotionless.
Well, not really. I mean, there was more
Feeling?
emotions there, but I want to
Okay.
see more compassion for
Oh, yeah.
instead of it's maybe not for him, but for the cat. Because all of your lines are directed for your concern for the cat. Well, what about this? And what about that? And if you're not showing any compassion, it comes off as a list of shit that you're dragging him through, as opposed to, oh, well, what about the food? What about the friends? What about where if you're compassionate and showing that, then we look at your character and go, oh, she really cares about her child, is what we think.
Mhm.
And, we see on Kamran's side, oh, he's really trying. But right now it's like we see Kamran really trying and the girl just sort of like being, oh, she's really kind of difficult. When both of you need to have the audience on your side. The audience, you want the audience to get these crazy kids back together again. And so, in that way, if we see more compassion from you, you have a cat, right? There's one right there. So
Yeah. Hey, Chip Chip.
So that's what I would say. And for you, Kamran, I definitely think if that's your first choice, if that was your first choice, when you're looking at these things with relationships, look at the dialogue that he's trying, where he is trying to make it work, which means to me that he would be coming in a little bit softer and not as hard. And that would be to me before the first read, your detective clue of like, ooh, how do I approach this character? Well, he's there, he's trying, so maybe we start him off in a better place instead of like a scene where you walk in going, what's the problem? It's like if she called you on the phone, she goes, get over here now, there's been an emergency. It's like, then you can walk in with that type of energy, but that's not where we're at.
It was better though the second time around. Like I got what you wanted.
No. You definitely took the adjustment. You definitely made the adjustment, which I think made the scene that much better because now it looks like both of you are working together for something. And if you'll notice too, let the dialogue work for you. Sometimes if you're in a scene and it worked in this scene, it's like on the first one, it's like, I'm fucking, why don't you fucking believe me? Was your first read. And it's like the second read was, why don't you fucking believe me? Like, let the dialogue work for you where it's like you're still the same guy, you're still trying, but the heavy duty word there with the F word is making you, it's a underlining of your frustration without having to go to that anger level. And I think it worked really well. So
I just
thank
need
you so
to
much.
work.
what's that?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry to be rude right here, guys, but I actually have to jet. I'm really sorry.
So we're finishing up, so that's
It's
good.
time
We'll
to
see you
go.
guys Wednesday. And
Okay.
look at the videos if you get a chance. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. And really good job today.
Oh,
Thank you,
thank you,
team.
Patrick. Feel better.
Have a
Thank
good one, guys. Yeah, feel better, Patrick.
Bye, guys.
Bye.